Fight Pick Time on Africa Sideways, and we got potentially the biggest heavyweight boxing match of the last couple of years coming up between undefeated 6'9", 280-pound Tyson Fury against the UFC heavyweight champion Francis Le Predateur Ngannou, who's out of contract with the UFC and looking for a big money fight. Ngannou is the biggest puncher in the UFC by a long, long way. This guy puts people into orbit and poses a real risk for Fury if they do it under hybrid rules with 4-ounce gloves in a cage. I think under straight boxing rules with 8-10-ounce gloves, Fury doesn't have that much of a chance. And I beg your pardon, Ngannou doesn't have much of a chance because it's Fury's backyard. He's been doing it forever. But with the smaller gloves, Ngannou's thunderous knockout power becomes a real problem for Fury. But Ngannou just needs one punch and he's flatlined many, many opponents. He's pound for pound the biggest puncher arguably in all combat sports. Sure, Fury's boxing power has improved over the years. He's been getting more and more knockouts. But still not Ngannou power. And Ngannou is probably a heavier hitter than Deontay Wilder. So it's really actually somebody who's looking for a good pick on an underdog's gonna make some money here if Ngannou can do the impossible and get a freak knockout, which is not actually that beyond the realms of possibility for people who've been watching him in the UFC. The boxing people will be taking him lightly because they'll say he's just an MMA fighter. What can he do to Fury? Fury's been running through everybody. But I think Dillian White was able to land on Fury, and if Ngannou can land on him with 4-ounce gloves, Fury's going to get knocked the fuck out, which makes it quite interesting that Fury came in. I'm getting various betting odds here, but Fury came in as a minus 1,500 favorite, and Ngannou was a plus 600 underdog when the betting came out. And I've seen lately it's some money's coming on Ngannou and he's plus 350 and Fury was minus 600, which is still quite a big gap considering the immense power that Ngannou has. I know it's not the best metric, but when he did that boxing machine in Vegas, he almost broke the thing. Immense power and a will to win. And this guy, he defended his heavyweight belt with a torn meniscus and buggered knee. So this guy is very, very strong. Grew up in the salt mines of Cameroon and had a rags to riches story. Had to do an incredible journey to get to France to get a better life for himself, and was actually going to become a boxer originally, and then got into MMA and just knocked everybody the fuck out. And here we are. He backed himself and fought out his contract with the UFC, setting up this mega hybrid fight between Fury and Ngannou. And I was looking forward to the Alexander Usyk versus Fury fight, but that seems to be stalling at the moment. And to be honest, I prefer to see Ngannou Fury under hybrid rules with those little gloves. Also, I want to see Fury with smaller gloves. I mean, ideally, sounds a bit savage, but the purest form of the game would have been bare knuckle Ngannou versus Fury. But I don't think that's going to happen because a lot of people don't have the palate for that anymore. Especially with, there's actually a good backstory there with bare knuckle because Fury comes from a long line of gypsies, travelers, so to speak, who are bare knuckle champions, and Ngannou's father was a bare knuckle champion. So actually, the best place for this fight to happen would be at BKFC under bare knuckle rules. But having said that, I find bare knuckle just a little bit too savage and a little bit too violent. I'm happy with the 4-ounce gloves, and I think at plus 600 with 4-ounce gloves, Ngannou is a great underdog bet. I mean, you can really get a big payout there. I wouldn't put any money on Fury at these numbers. I mean, you basically you're basically asking for trouble, because there's not much return on your money at minus 600 or so. Some places even minus 1,000. There's really no point in putting the actual money is going to be putting money on Ngannou by knockout. He's got no chance of winning the decision against Tyson Fury, but check out some of his highlights. This guy has got serious power, and he's a big dude, 6'6", 130 kilo. So he's not going to be particularly out, and he's got an 80-inch reach. So he's not going to be outpowered by Fury, so to speak. This is one of the few times where Fury is going to be coming up against a guy his own size in terms of weight, not necessarily height. He's still got 3 inches on Ngannou, but in terms of just power and being able to boss people around the ring, like that's what Fury did to Wilder. He had sort of 15 kilos on him, and possibly maybe even closer to 20 kilos. So there was really a marked size difference there, and it showed in the ring, because Wilder was getting bossed around and eventually got knocked out. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I think under hybrid rules, you'd probably go 5 3-minute rounds with MMA gloves on. I think I really fancy Ngannou's chances, especially after seeing the last boxing fight. I don't know if it was actually against Chisora, where Chisora managed to land a few on him. I think if that happens, if Ngannou with 4-ounce gloves, and also there's going to be less opportunity to block with the smaller gloves. I think the only way, but on the flip side, if Fury comes out firing and he's got heavy hands as well with those gloves, Ngannou can get knocked out just as easily. So with the 4-ounce gloves, to me, it's more of a coin flip than a washout for Fury. So I'll definitely be putting a bit of cash on Ngannou. And then in another interesting fight coming up is, and that's not the only Fury in action, Tommy Fury is going to be fighting Jake Paul later this month in February, and he's coming in at a slight underdog over Paul, who's been ripping through people, knocking people out left, right and center, and proving that he can actually box. Whereas Tommy Fury hasn't been doing that. He knocked over a few tomato cans early on in his career, but his last fight against pretty much a nobody, he struggled to put the guy away, and really didn't look like a world beater like his brother. He looks like a good, honest pro, but not somebody who's going to be challenging for a world title anytime soon. And I think his looks and his physique have been, and his time on Big Brother and Love Island and all that, have been getting him more fights than his real boxing ability. So I think I would actually be putting money on Jake Paul here. I think he's a minus 150 favorite. So and I think Fury's plus 100. So it's almost a coin flip here. And with Jake Paul's power, I don't see Fury's chin holding up. He's too pretty. And it's going to be another one in the win column for Jake Paul, who's really set the combat world alight, calling out people left, right and center. Now he said he's going to be doing MMA. So the world is definitely at his feet. And my prediction is a Jake Paul win by knockout in under 8 rounds. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There are my fight picks. Take it easy and we'll catch you next time on Africa Sideways.